Mickey Spillane's back in print, and we got him. He's coming up next on Carolina People. Good morning. Welcome to Carolina People. This morning we're at the Fox 43 studio. We're back with part 2 of Mickey Spillane. Mickey, thanks so much for getting back with us.
I'm glad to be here. I got the same clothes on. Look at that.
Oh my God, you're kidding. How does Jane let you out of the house with the same clothes on? That's amazing. We need to have a talk with her.
I know that. Jeez.
You know, your wife had a great idea of having a Spillane debate week where we would get you all debating certain topics.
I would never get my mouth open.
Oh, come on.
Oh, no, you don't know my wife, you know. She's got amazing, she knows 10,000 telephone. No, I'm going to say 1,000. I don't want to go too far.
Right. She knows 1,000 phone numbers?
Yeah, about that. And I don't know any.
Are they all in Marion County?
I don't know where they are.
Yeah.
She never tells me when she's on, you know, but she gets on the phone, forget it.
Yeah.
Boy. But I have seen her, one day she wanted to find, she had a telephone number, but didn't know whose it was.
Right.
So she opens up the phone book and starts going through it. Now, she got all the way to the end before she found the person. She knew the phone number. See?
Right. She could have just dialed the number and found out whoever answered.
I could, but she wanted to know. No, this was a legal situation going on back in those days.
Don't do that.
And anyway, so 2 days later, she has another one just like that. I said, "Don't do it that."
Yeah.
I wouldn't sit there and go through all those just to find out somebody. I don't know if she called them or not.
I wonder.
If I know my wife, she called them.
Yeah, she probably did. That's right. Well, would you be up for the debate, Spillane debate week?
Oh, no.
Be a little heavy. Yeah.
I'll leave my guns at home for that.
Oh, my God. That's right. I think I saw in an interview session, Mickey, one time someone was asking about, and it was a great question about, and you followed up with it talking about guns, if there are aspects that are in print, in a book form, that don't show up in the many movies that have been produced for the books. And there was an example of a .38, something hitting a wall.
Oh, that was the first book, the first picture they made of with Biff Elliott, and they denied a jury. That was terrible, because, you know, people involved with making movies, they only got half a head. Now, here is the picture that everybody visualizes of Mike Hammer. He's a big guy. You know,
right.
Carries a .45. Now, poor Biff Elliott was a guy, he was my size. I'm 5'8", big 5'8". I lost, who would know? I used to be 5'10", I think. Anyway, he's 5'8". He had a Boston accent. He was left-handed. And with his Boston accent, and then he shoots, and takes a .38 out and shoots at a wall. The guy shot at a wall. The bullet falls down. Instead of that thing be flattened and being that big, it was a perfect slug, just like they took it out of the shell and laid it down, you know. And Biff picks it up and says, a .38. And I'm sitting back there and says, oh, gee, who wrote this thing? And I said, Biff, why'd you let him do that to you for? He says, well, I'm just the actor.
Yeah.
You know, you got a voice, speak up. But that was the first time I had seen stupidity come into anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
I always remember Sir Cedric Hardwick? With that big, beautiful, deep voice. He had a British face, dead now.
Mm-hmm.
He said to me one day, he said, you know, I always wanted to play Mike Hammer. And I said, you can't. He says, of course, an actor can play anybody. He says, why not? I said, you have no hair. He said, oh, hair, you can buy hair anywhere. You know, which is true today. I know so many bald-headed guys.
That's right. You can.
I kid him. With my age, and here I am with full head of hair, those white. Don't wear glasses.
No, that's right. I know. And you've got good vision.
I got 20/20. I'm no pilot.
Come on.
I have. I still got my same vision. I've never changed.
That's amazing. Have you ever drawn a blank when you were preparing to write?
Oh, man, I do that all the time. I can't keep everything in context anymore. I call it Eisenhower's disease, you know, not Alzheimer's. No, sometimes I just start losing things. And I have to sit down and say, hey, what's my wife's name?
Oh, no.
This is my wife. What's her name? You know.
That's right. That's right. You remember all the 6 cats, but
she does the same thing. You know, I can. Who are you? You know.
Oh, yeah.
But I find myself on that little raggedy edge as you get older. I told you, hey, 4 years from now I'll be 90. What am I going to do?
That's amazing, Mickey.
I feel good.
You said that yesterday, and that just blows my mind.
Well, you got to get old sooner or later. You know, what are you going to do?
Do most of the books, as you're wrapping up, always set the stage for the next one?
No, I don't write like a lot of people. I write from the ending. I got the ending,
right.
Then I write up to it. That's the best part of the book. I get to the ending, it's already done. I've already written the ending out.
I think I saw in reading something, Mickey, that you'd made a wager with somebody about leaving out a word.
Let me tell you this story. There was an editor up there who I didn't like because he was a snotty son of a gun. He bet me about writing. I said I could write a book. I got braggers. I said I could write a book, and if I took the last word off the book, you would know what the whole thing was about. He said, it's impossible to do. So I made a $1,000 bet with him. I went home and I wrote this book, Vengeance is Mine, I think.
Right.
And I turned the manuscript in, but I didn't have the last word on it. He said, "What's the last word? What's the word?" I said, "Give me my money."
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And we had a bet, and it was written out too. And he had to give me a check for $1,000. And I thought, but that was the first time I got him. Now the next time I got him was he said to me, he was such a good editor that I could not possibly put an error in my book that he couldn't find, a deliberate error. I said, heck, I couldn't. Now this guy lives in Jersey, goes back and forth across the George Washington Bridge twice a day. So I wrote the new book. He read it, and he says, "Ha! He told me you didn't put it. There's not a mistake in there." I said, "Oh, yes, there is." He said, "No, there isn't." I says, "Take a look at where at the George Washington Bridge I put the where you pay your money. What do you call it?
Right, the toll.
The toll gate on the wrong side of the bridge." He goes through it twice a day. He never even noticed that.
You are kidding.
I said, "Give me my money."
Golly, Mickey.
Well.
Have you ever written anything into your pieces oftentimes we've heard there's some critics of your writing. Have you ever put anything in there to kind of highlight to critics that...
Oh, I've said things about, but not in the books, no. Some people ask me what I think about critics. I mean, they get their books free. They can't write. And all they can do is pick you apart. What got them really bad? And the New York Times has a book section there.
Right.
They have the 6 in a row, what do you call it, number 1, 2 on the bestseller list. Mm-hmm. And this day in the New York Times, I had all 6 of them. 6 of my books. Right. Then along came Mario Puzo, and he knocked me off the top when he came out with The Godfather.
Right.
See?
Right.
Which that was good. But hey, I've been up there now for a little bit of time. This just destroyed the critics.
You had the top 6 books.
I had all 6 of them. See. I made copies of these things. I sent them to people who think, yeah, he's no good.
I think I saw in 1967 that between 1895 and 1965 that you had 7 of the 29 most printed. It was an incredible number.
I was reprinted. Well, this little old guy came to me one day and he says, "What a terrible commentary on the reading habit of the American public to think that you have 7 out of the top 10 all-time bestsellers." I said, "Look, I didn't write 3 more." And I did, and I had all 10.
Oh, Mickey.
Yeah, so, well, this is just, that's not a thing to brag about. It's just something that people are reading.
Right.
I happen to hit it at the right time. And the sales, now here's the big thing about those sales. See, the paperback market came out when I wrote Ida Jury. I knew this was coming out, and I was timing this for that particular book.
Right.
It came out, and it went right to the top, because for 25 cents, you got all the best reading material in the world.
Oh, yeah.
There weren't that many books on the market. I remember when we used to have one little rack of books with maybe 20 titles on there. I hit that again.
No, you didn't.
Did he yell at me over there?
Oh, not yet. Okay. That's right.
But you can do that when you had the paper. Now you look at the bookstore, man, there's thousands of titles out there.
Right.
Now if you get on the top, you better be good.
Yeah, you got to be great. That's exactly right. There it is.
There's a new one. See, that's something down there.
Yeah. How long has that been out, Mickey? That came out last year.
A couple weeks ago.
Right. Is that right?
Yeah, not been that long. See, I'll set it up like that so the readers have a good look at that. Buy a dozen if you want.
All we can see it. That's right. Hold it up a little higher. Hold
there
it up.
I am with
my
hand. There's my big name. See that?
I love it.
Now,
what'd your parents think the first?
Who?
Your folks.
My parents?
When I, the jury, came out in
My
1940.
dad said to me, "Why don't you get a job like other guys?" He did. I says, "Dad," but my dad didn't. He never. My dad was a tavern keeper.
Is that right?
And he had no big education. Good Irish guy, you know, and as Irish as can be. I'm as Irish as Patty's Pig, you know. But and my mother was a very lovely Scots lady, very even-tempered and whatnot.
Did
Just
you-
the opposite of my dad.
Did you have brothers and sisters, Mickey?
No, I'm an only child. Can you
Is-
tell?
Well, you know, I'm the middle of three, so I can't. Yeah, although my dad is, so maybe so. That's right. That's right.
My dad was a good Irish bartender. They're great psychiatrists too. Did you know that?
Huh.
I'm not
Bartenders?
a psychologist. Psychiatrist. Yeah, those guys hear so many people at the bar. They're pouring out the story to the
That's right.
bartender, and they're telling the truth. The things they won't tell the doctor. And those guys bring that in, and they know these things. I've talked to a lot of them, and I know how they are.
Well, when it started selling, when I, the jury, started selling, they must have wrapped around. Your dad probably calmed down a little bit.
No, my dad never did. He never could understand me anyway.
Really?
But the reason I wrote I Had a Jury was I had just come out of the military. I'm living in Brooklyn with George Wilson, the artist. That we stayed together all this time. This is 50 years after the war. And we wanted to build a house up in Newburgh. We had no money. Now, he had $2,500. I had nothing. I've been in the comic book business. Now, I've been married for 6 months, I guess. And I'm paying my bills and all. I'm not broke. But, you know, comic books are... It's hard to think that you got $25 for a comic book story. And that was great. That was pretty good back in these days. It was 1946, 47, 48. But then we decided we wanted to build a house, and I needed to have $2,500. But $1,000 would do me fine if I could get that. And I told him, I said, I want $1,000 advance. At that time, I only gave me $250 for a mystery story. I held out, and I got the $1,000. We moved into a tent, lived up there in the country, built the house, had a cinder block, saw snow before we came out of the tent. It wasn't easy living, my friend, but I tell you, it was fun. And here we are. Look, I'm now on TV shows. Hit that again.
I know.
Gee,
No, that's...
He's going to yell at me over there.
Oh, well, that's why he's the director. He gets to do that. But, and of course, no longer living in New York, living in Myrtle's Inlet, South
50
Carolina.
years of it.
Yeah.
When I moved down there, people say, "You're going to move to that dump, Myrtle's Inlet? Who ever lived there?" I said, "That's what I like. Leave it alone." Now the place is
It's not overpopulated. You still got the
it's
little old ladies that you're
overpopulated.
picking
I don't
up.
even know where I am anymore. Go down 707, see what you see. Nothing but houses.
707's pretty crowded,
I
yeah.
remember there's only one house down this end and one house down that end, by Soccer State. You know what's going to happen if you ever have a hurricane around here? When there's a big one, everybody's going to funnel into Soccer State and jam. Oh, wow.
We got to work on new roads, Mickey.
No,
Yeah.
not me. I'm going to stay right at my house. When I built my house, it's built for the hurricane.
Is that right? You stayed in it through, did you stay in there during Hugo?
Hugo wiped me out. I lost
Oh,
everything in Hugo, sure. Jay and I were out in California at that time.
Is that right?
We came back to find it would look like Godzilla took a walk down the block.
What happened to the Jag? Was it there then?
No, my buddy who was fixing it, he's dead now. Over from Soccer State, came over with a flatbed truck, took my Jag out and brought it up to there. It was saved.
Did he really?
With the rest of the house.
Wow. So the house is new since 89.
Yeah. We went 100% over specs on that house. We wanted to make sure that the next time there's a hurricane, I'm going to sit in the front porch and I think Jane will sit with me. We've watched a couple of hurricanes go by already from sitting on a jogging board. We got one of those up there.
You're kidding.
Oh, man. You know what those things were for? Those are what the mammies used to have when they had the babies in their arms. Jogging.
I hadn't thought of
Now
that.
it's Jane and me, and I put her on my lap and we jog.
6 cats, that's right. Listen to that. Golly, Mickey. When you think about, you think about giving some inspiration to young writers or older writers or anyone who wants to write a book for the first time. I know you said you do some good critiquing. I mean, you
I tell them how to do it.
Right.
I said, if you do it this way, you'll write a book that could be successful. I'm not going to say would be, I say could be, you know.
Right.
Because there's a lot of, I tell people to be a brain surgeon because it's a lot easier. I think it is. But writing is not an easy thing. You just don't sit down and write. You don't use a pencil and write. You know, writing is a job. It's a profession. It's a business you're making money from. And the only way you're going to make money is to be good at it. There are thousands of writers, and they might make a few bucks here and there, and but they're not living in a, get all the bills paid and live in something nice.
Mm-hmm. You talked yesterday about how an author may write one book or just a couple, where a writer's writing a ton of books, putting stuff out. And
I'll give you an idea of an author as far as books are concerned. That would be Margaret Mitchell.
Mm-hmm.
They asked her, when are you going to write a sequel to Gone with the Wind? She says, never. It took me 10 years to write that one. I never want to write another one. 2 weeks later, a taxi driver ran her down with his cab in Atlanta, you know.
Oh.
But she never had a chance to do it either.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Speaking of that, I think I saw that you'd written Eye of the Jury. I don't know if we talked about it yesterday, in either 9 or 19 days. I mean,
I kind of think it was 9. I'm not sure.
You just
I can do that.
blew through that.
You know, you're working from early in the morning to late at night and going. You know, it's not a, yeah. It's an awful lot of picking and packing.
Yeah, that is a lot of.
I wore at the typewriter. I had beat up all L.C. Smith, and boy, you don't even see them except in an antique store.
Right.
But I wore that typewriter outright. That was the only book I wrote on that particular typewriter. Mm-hmm. I paid $15 for it after the war.
Mickey, everyone asked about those Miller Lite ads.
About that.
That was such a big time, and Miller Lite was through the roof then. I know they're doing well now, but
Miller Lite beer became the #1 beer in the entire world. I'll tell you about those ads. They were economically pleasant.
I'm sure that wasn't bad.
I still go through airports. People say, "Hey, where's the doll?"
Oh,
I said, "Hey, what the hell?" Look. She gets the same thing. I saw her that long ago when Jane and I were up in Jersey at a book signing, and she came down. And she's still got a very spectacular shape on her.
Oh, yeah.
And they were heading for Ireland. They're going to, she and her husband going to make a movie over there. I said, "It's a heck of a place to make a movie, but
yeah,
if you can make a buck, go ahead." You know?
Now, you didn't do much writing while you were doing those ads.
Heck, I didn't. I've never quit writing. I was writing for different areas, but.
Mm-hmm. So there's stuff. Do you put stuff like on the shelf, or wait for certain good times to bring stuff out?
No, I got a book almost, well, it's 3/4 of the way finished now.
Right.
I'm going to write one more Mike Hammer book. And in this book, this is where Mike is going to marry Velda. Land, wow. Huh? So, but
wow.
I haven't developed a title for that book yet, but it's on the way. I got another one at home. It's 3/4 of the way done.
I think I saw you also did some children's writing.
I did too. I got the awards for the best children's book of the year. I forget the name of the award it was.
A literary guild thing. Mm-hmm.
And then some guy out in Hollywood took my 2 books, put them together, and made a movie out of it.
Is that right? Out of your children's book?
Yeah, they took the highlights of my stuff called The Goonies. You ever remember The Goonies? So you're probably a little too old to have seen that.
I think our director remembers The Goonies. Yeah. Lane was smiling.
Well, I'm looking at. I was in a show with Jane, and I said, "Hey, they're using my stuff."
Yeah.
And they had confiscated great scenes that I had, put them in and someday I'm going to see that movie director out in Hollywood.
You better get out
there.
there.
Bring it to his attention.
Yeah. You said you're only 5'8", but I'm sure you pack a punch there.
Lane, I have to hit him with a stick.
Right.
No, you know the best thing, hit somebody with a banana stalk.
A banana stalk?
Oh, they're hard to find. I mean, boy, with they're heavy enders out there. You hit somebody with a banana stalk, doesn't leave a mark on them. Oh, boy, it should take their head off. This is what I get for living in Elizabeth, New Jersey, in the area I lived in. That was the only thing we had to fight with.
When you think of literary characters, Mickey, do any of them really stick out in your mind, real memorable ones? If you were to think of one. Ayn Rand, yeah.
You know what's funny? They just did a big thing, a big book on Ayn Rand. You know, she's a well-respected person. She was a great writer, but we were friends. And when they went through all her letters, they found all these letters from me, and she saved every one, and she even had copies of her own answers to me.
Oh, you're kidding.
And they called me up, and I didn't know that she did all this. And I know we were friends for years, you know. And they would say, Mickey Spillane and Ayn Rand, how would she ever know a person like Spillane?
Right, yeah.
And we'd go out to lunches, and so I see her when I was in New York, you know, with all the little disciples she had around.
Mm-hmm.
And we had some good times together like that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But they had this big thing, but they talk with people writing to me as if, how did you get to know Ayn Rand? And they have the emphasis of, how would anybody of your class get to meet somebody of that class? It was easy. It's nice knowing people like that.
Oh, Mickey, it was great hearing, and I'm glad you said Ayn Rand. That quote, Spillane gives me the feeling of hearing a military band in a public park. Those are I mean, to put that in your mind, a powerful piece.
She always loved my pictures of New York that I was writing about. Her favorite book was One Lonely Night. Nobody ever walks across a bridge on a night like this. Well, hardly nobody. That's a play on words, you know. But I had another, because always supposed to be hardly anybody. That's you idiot. I said, nobody ever walks across, well, hardly nobody. You know. And then the book ends in the same way. But in the meantime, all these big pictures, I didn't know I wrote like that for Pete's sake. One day I read the book, I said, gee, that's good.
You said they're really planned words. I mean, you really...
Well, I did.
It's painstaking.
Yeah.
Yeah, at some level. You can move quick, write quickly, but those things are thoroughly thought out.
I speak the same way, too, huh?
There were a couple of famous... I think I was reading about you down in the Keys, maybe, something with Hemingway and...
Paul Hemingway. He hated my guts.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, he wrote Blue Book magazine. He wrote a piece of Blue Book about me. Well, he was a real cool. Throw me out of the gun. Anyway, I'm doing a big TV show out in Chicago. And this is the days of black and white.
Right.
And this guy comes, I says, Mickey, have you seen this piece that Hemingway wrote about you? And I said, Hemingway who?
No.
I got back at it.
That was a heavy blow.
It wasn't bad, I won't say, but he didn't like me at all. I outsold him. That was he wasn't a writer. He was an author.
Right.
And authors hate writers, especially when writers outsell them.
Who are some writers you like now?
Oh, there's a lot of people I write. I forget names. They go out of my head.
Yeah.
I say, poor old Jane. This is my wife. What's her name? You know?
Oh, no.
But I'm sorry, Jane.
You
Anyway.
still love her. That's right. You still love her.
Well, we
And the
hug and
six.
kiss
That's
and all
right.
that snuggly stuff, you know. But it's a strange way when you're writing. I don't know what I'm writing. My mind is maybe 4 pages ahead of what I'm putting down the typewriter.
Yeah, if you're typing. Now, do you ever dictate things
No,
so you
I
don't
can't
forget?
dictate, no.
So this stays in your mind. I mean, the 4 pages ahead is still in your mind.
Did you ever see a typographer in the Navy? Were you ever in the Navy? You see these guys
I
on
wasn't
the
in the Navy.
keys?
Yeah.
And, now, here, they are like these guys, and I can't understand. Here's a guy at a bar playing a piano, and you come up to him and you're talking to him, and he's still playing.
Mm-hmm.
See?
Mm-hmm.
I wonder how the heck can they do that?
Mm.
But the typographer, he'll be doing that. The keys will start clicking. Finally, he's talking to you, goes over, puts on his headset, goes over system, and he starts typing. Now, he's typing what came on 10, 15 seconds ago.
Mm.
And I mean, that's the way I'm writing. My mind is way ahead of what I'm putting down over here. I don't forget it.
And even follow-up, sequels to pieces, hammer pieces are still in your mind. I mean, this new one where...
I can quote things all over the place like that. I don't do it anymore. I recite poetry instead.
Is that right?
Sure, man. Want me to do Gunga Din for you?
Yeah, that would be a little long. That's right. We've only got a couple of minutes.
That's what I mean. I knew that'd stop you.
That would do it. That would do it. What do you like most about Merle's Inlet, Mickey?
Well, I like it better the way it used to be. When I first moved there, they were dumping the sewer garbage right into the creek. We made them stop that. That wasn't nice for swimming, you know. But now, things you know these little boats that go back and forth? They've destroyed the breeding habits of all the fish, the crabs, the clams, everything. But they do make one thing good about those little boats. They make great targets.
Oh, God, Mickey. That'll get you in some trouble. What prompted you to
I'm not
move
going to shoot. I just they make good targets.
That's right. Some of our viewers may turn you in, Mickey.
Well, tell them to get out of the creek. Go over the river. Go out in the ocean with those darn things.
Mm-hmm.
Stay away from in front of my house.
What prompted you to move to Merle's Inlet in the first place?
I found this place when I flew a P-51 from Newark, New Jersey, down to Sarasota, Florida, and way down. I'm an old lifeguard from the beaches in New York, and I went through high school and college all up here in that business. Mm-hmm. And I looked down one day, I'm coming across Wilmington, and ahead of me I see this long strip of white. It's what they call now the Grand Strand. At that time, there was nothing down there but beach. I said, look at the sign of that beach. So I open my map, and I see a air base right here. Uh-huh. I see the air base listed, and I said, hey, I'm going to land. I landed there, and I got a hold of the crew chief. I said, hey, can you place a room on my airplane? I can spend 3 days here. And there's no trouble. I think the paint is a little bit, it was a brand new airplane. Anyway, I stayed here for 3 days. I went out in the ASC rescue boats out fishing, caught a mess of fish. We had a good fish fry right down here in the inlet. Sat on the big sand. We had 20-foot dunes up and down the beach. It was fantastic. I said, I'm coming back here after the war, which I did. I come back for 3 vacations, and then I come back one day, and it was off-season, and that's when I bought my house. And I'm not going to tell you what I paid for it, but it was, I got a good buy.
That's right.
But anyway, I'm still here. We moved down right away. We're still here.
If you weren't Mickey Spillane, I mean, if you weren't Mickey Spillane, the writer, what do you think you'd be doing, Mickey? Where would you be? What would?
I don't know. I'd be, as long as I'm alive, that's what's important, staying alive and being happy.
Yeah.
You know, I would hate to be, I've seen too many miserable people. I don't know why they're miserable, but I'm not miserable. I feel good. Jane kisses me once in a while. You know, I give her a big check, she pass me on the back.
Oh, no. Oh, no. You heard him say it. The words are simple. Staying alive,
that's
being
a big
happy.
thing. That's a big thing. Staying alive and paying your bills. Well, don't owe any money.
And not owing any money and loving his sweet wife, Jane, of the last 20-plus years. We'll get him back in. Mickey, thanks so much for being with us
I'm
this
glad
morning.
to see you.
It's been
I'm
real
sorry I didn't
pleasure.
let you talk too much, but
No, absolutely. That's the way it's supposed to be.
is that the way? Okay,
That's
now
the way
I'll
it's
come back.
supposed to be. Stay tuned to more Carolina People coming up next. It's tough to thank one of the most translated writers in the world, but we want to thank Mickey Spillane and his amazing wife, Jane, for coming in and making today's Carolina People so special.